Alright guys, welcome back to another Fortnite video, and in this one, it is time to talk about some Season 7 stuff. That is right guys, it is just around the corner, and we have gotten a couple new teasers as well as a bunch of other clues of what we can expect in Season 7. So that's what we're going to be going over today. We're going to be dissecting the two recent teaser images for the new season, including like what a bunch of the things will likely mean, as well as going through some other clues outside of those images, but just overall, what to expect in Season 7. We've seriously got so many things like new battle pass skins, changes to the map, just a ton of awesome things that I definitely think you guys want to hear about, so be sure to watch until the end. This video is seriously just packed with a bunch of details, clues, and then of course theories as well. So yeah guys, if you do enjoy today's video or are just hyped for the next season, be sure to hit that like button down below. On top of that, be sure to comment, well since this is going to be my last video during Season 6, comment your favorite item from the Season 6 battle pass or just from Season 6 in general. For me, sticking to the battle pass, I think it might be Dire. I've been unlocking like the new stages and it's seriously such an awesome skin. So be sure to comment that down below. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. But yeah guys, without further ado, let's jump into it with the first thing I want to talk about. Let's start off with the first teaser image because I'm sure a bunch of you have seen it, but you may have not known that there's a bunch of clues hidden inside of this. Like seriously guys, there's a ton of hidden things that you may have missed. So let's go through all of those right now. So first of all, you've probably seen the image itself, but if you haven't, here it is. Very similar to previous teaser images for past seasons, but definitely, pretty interesting overall. You've got what looks like a character silhouette in the center. It's got a bunch of blues to it. Looks a lot like ice. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is ice themed, but that stuff itself is pretty obvious. Now, let's jump into some of the secret things that you may not have noticed. It's actually from outside of this image, but it points towards the image itself in a pretty interesting way. So this actually comes from Donald Mustard on Twitter. He's the worldwide creative director of Fortnite, and he responded to this tweet of the image itself from the official Fortnite account and added something a little bit interesting to it. So basically what he replied to this image, he said he is waking up, which is definitely a pretty mysterious thing to say, but it is very interesting as well. That means that this right here is definitely a character in the Season 7 story, and I mean, that was expected, but since we only had this image, you really weren't sure what this was going to be. Now on top of that, he specifically says he is waking up. What is he waking up from? That is the question that we need to ask, because there's actually a few things with that. Like again, what is he waking up from? What is he going to do? Why is he waking up? There's a ton of mystery added through these 4 words. On top of that, this is just a little theory I had, but if he is waking up and it seems like he is themed around, an iceberg type character, especially with like the horns and stuff like that, I'm thinking that this character could be inside like the iceberg, which would be very, very important. Now on top of that, I'm assuming that this could either be the main skin from the start of the battle pass, the one that you rank up and unlock different variants for, similar to Calamity from Season 6, or it could also be the tier 100 skin. I'm assuming it's one of those two because it just seems like that important of a skin, and there's also another clue we'll talk about in just a sec. But yeah, moving on to something that I noticed inside of this image itself as well. There's actually 2 different clues here, the first of which is the more obvious of the 2, but the second of which is more hidden, and I'll show you that in just a sec. But yeah, the first of which, if you take a look at the right side of, you've got a snowboarder or maybe a skier going down the side of the hill, or iceberg, whatever you want to call it. But if you do take a look at it, it actually points towards the second teaser image, which again is coming up in a bit, and that has a bunch of clues on its own. We'll talk about a bunch of that stuff. But yes, this actually does point towards that, and it looks like a snowboarder, so to say, which we will talk about, but I don't know how likely like a snowboard item would be. I just think that might be a little bit hard to implement it, but again, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it is still a possibility. Could you imagine an item where you pull it out and it allows you to go down hills like super fast? But then again, that's kind of similar to chillers, so But yeah, this is important for the second teaser, which we're going to talk about soon, so keep that clue in the back of your head. Now, as for the second thing hidden within this image, this one is again more hidden, but it is pretty cool. So basically, in order to see this, you just take a look at the very center, the darker portion of the image itself. If you look closely, you can see what I believe is Aurora Borealis, or in other words, the Northern Lights. It looks very similar to pictures of like the Northern Lights and stuff like that. And again, if you don't know what that is, it's basically like this phenomenon where there's a natural light like moving around through the night sky. It's very cool, and it generally does have to do with places where it snows a lot. At least I think it does. I'm not an expert on it, but you always see it in like Christmas movies and stuff like that. So what I'm thinking this could mean is that this could probably be something we see at nighttime during this next season, especially especially if it is indeed like a winter themed season. I just think that would make sense, right? I mean, wouldn't that be super cool to have like the nighttime during the next season and you look up and you see these lights moving around in the sky? I just think that's something they would do, and if they put something similar like this in the teaser image, it would make sense. And again, it does look like the sky because there's also what seems to be stars there, so I don't think that's too far off of a theory, and I think it's actually pretty likely, so maybe expect that to be something added in. But after that, then this next clue is something that actually appeared on the map itself, and don't worry, we'll be going over the second teaser image in just a sec here, trying to go through a bunch of the theories with that. But this first thing I really wanted to talk about, because it was a change to the map that just happened recently, and it could mean a ton of different things, with the first of which, like the sort of theory around this being that we could be seeing a snowy portion of the map. That is right, guys, it definitely seems more likely, because if you go into game and take a look at this clue on the starting island, you can now see that it is snowing. That is right, guys, there is actually snow on the starting island. If you go into game, you should be able to see this. At least I was able to see it in my game, and as you can see right here in the replay, it's very clear that there is snow falling from the sky or falling from the iceberg, considering that the iceberg is getting closer, but you know, there's snowflakes going through the air. And I mean, it just seems like a very likely theory that this could be pointing towards a snowy portion of the map. And here's a little concept I created of what it could look like based on another clue we have coming up that you definitely need to see. And a couple of other reasons I think that, the first of which is that in season 5 we got a new portion of the map, which was the desert area. So since they've already created new terrains for the map in previous seasons, I could see them doing the same with like a snowy area in season 7. On top of that, you also had the corrupted zones in season 6, which were smaller changes to the map, but they also had like unique textures with the gray and things like that. But then on top of that, if you remember, in I believe season 5 again, when Paradise Palms in that desert area showed up, there was a similar animation to this snow, but it was like sand falling out of the rift. So if they added something like that to signify that the desert area showed up, and if you also remember, there was snow falling out of a rift for the Vikings village, and there's snow over there, I'm thinking if they added snow to the starting island, we could be seeing some sort of snowy area. Even if it's just the starting island, I think it's a pretty likely thing to expect. But on top of that, there's yet another clue that points towards us likely getting a snowy area, and that is from the Save the World stuff that they put up on Twitter earlier today. There's quite a few things in there, and I think I'll talk more about that in a separate video, but something specific that I think is very, very interesting is this one portion where there is a snowy area in Save the World. And I'm pretty sure it is a new thing for Save the World. At least they've got a new event going on called Frost Night, which may be something that's coming to Battle Royale. I'm not 100% sure. We may have to talk about that in a separate video. But yeah, guys, if you remember back in, I think, season 4, when the desert area came to the map, in Battle Royale specifically, there was also a desert area in Save the World. So basically, I think it's super likely that this could be signifying that we will be getting something like this snowy area, but in Battle Royale as well. And that's what I based my little concept image on. And on top of that, it points out that they already have the assets created to do so, so it would really just make sense, guys. It's super likely that we will be getting a sort of snowy area. But yeah, guys, let's move on here to the second teaser image, because there are a couple of other things that are hidden in this one, similar to the first one as well, and even one that points towards the one that is coming out tomorrow. And by the way, if you want to talk about the one that's coming out tomorrow, just follow me on Twitter at TheLlamaSir, and maybe we can come up with some theories about it there. But yeah, as you saw, there is the second image that we got, and there's a couple of interesting things to go over, including a couple of things that I don't think you guys know yet. So the first of which is pretty straightforward and pretty clear, is that the main character on the front of this one is the same one that was sort of hidden in the first image. You know, that one with the snowboarder? Well, I'm pretty sure that this is that snowboarder in the first image. And as you can see, that does indeed seem like a snowboard, so maybe the snowboard will play a role some way in the next season. Not 100% sure, but then looking at the character itself, it does seem like it is a Battle Pass skin. Again, in previous seasons, they teased the skins within these images, so maybe this is the tier 100 one, or the starting out one that you rank up, or it could be a different one. We're not exactly sure. But that leads me to my next point here, and this is another little clue that the worldwide creative director of Fortnite tweeted out. So if you take a look at what he said, in reply to this, he said, "She's here to shred." So there's two interesting things you can take from that. The first of which is that this character is a she and not a he, whereas with the first one, he said the character in the first teaser image was a he. So this is similar to how we had like Calamity and Dire in season 6. So it is possible that one of these is the tier 100 skin and the other is a skin that you unlock at the beginning and you rank up, similar to like Calamity. But yeah, looking at it itself, it looks very cool. It looks like the design was sort of inspired by like a cat, in terms of how it looks like it has ears and the eyes kind of look like a cat's ears. And also, if you look at the hands, it looks like there's claws there. But then also I want to take note of how he said she's here to shred, which shred is usually a word that's used with snowboarding. So who knows, maybe we will be getting something that has to do with snowboards. I just still don't know if it would be an item or how exactly that would be implemented. So it's up in the air, but yeah, for sure I would like to see something with a snowboard. That would be a ton of fun. But then moving on to the other clue hidden within this image, you may have noticed it a little bit, but let's go through it in detail here. It is this character behind the snowboard hanging in the air. So it is pretty difficult to see. I think tomorrow we will get a better look at what this character is. But as of right now, you know, we can come up with some theories. I don't know why, but it kind of reminds me of like a Yeti, and a Yeti, you know, is snow inspired, so it would fit with the theme that they seem to be going with here. But I don't know, it just kind of looks like a Yeti to me. I could be completely wrong. We will find out tomorrow. But even with that, he seems to have like a scar. And then also it seems like he's going down a zip line. Now I don't know why they would put in a zip line, again, similar to the snowboard, if it wasn't going to be something in season 7. So who knows, maybe we'll be seeing an item similar to the grappler, but maybe you can fire it further. Maybe it sticks into the side of walls and you can, you know, use the zip line to zip line super fast down, maybe upwards. Again, this is just a theory and idea, but it does appear to be a zip line. So who knows, maybe that'll be included in the game in some way. It could also be a new type of mobility. They tend to add new ways of moving around the map. So if we are getting a new section of the map, maybe they have zip lines between certain areas as a way to get to and from them even faster. Like if you remember, they added rifts with season 5, I believe. Then season 6 had the corrupted zones and the shadow stones that helped you move around the map. So I would assume that they're going to add something to help you move faster in season 7. And who knows, it's a possibility that it could be a snowboard and could also maybe be some zip lines. But yeah, guys, that's going to be a ton of fun, and that is my last clue in theory for this video. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more season 7 videos as soon as the season comes out. And in the meantime, you can check out some of my previous videos here, such as on the left, going through some update news that could also be coming in season 7 or later, and then on the right, another fun video I'm sure you guys will enjoy. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.